Okay, in this video, we're going to talk about 30 ways to find private label products with my good friend Max Sigerton Scott. Say hi, Max.
Hi.
So Max is a private label seller. Actually, he's done pretty much everything. If you've never heard me talk to Max, episode 1 of the podcast, he was the first guy I had on. It was a wicked episode. Max walks through how he started with the thrifting and retail arbitrage, online arbitrage, wholesale, private label. Pretty sure he does all of it now. Max put together this awesome post with just 30 different ways that he has used and researched to try to find private label ideas. So I said, dude, we got to get on a video and just talk about this because this is way more important than just, your quick hits. So I thought this would be gold. So Max, if you just want to give us a 5-second intro, 10-second intro on you.
Sure. I'm Max, as you know. I do everything and I fail at everything, and that's why I always have so many good ideas because it's like I can't do that. I can't do that. But yeah, I've been selling, like Rob said, on Amazon since 2015, and excited to get started.
Max is any random day, all of a sudden I'll get a message from him and it'll be like 3 images of package design. And he's like, hey, which one's best? 1, 2, or 3? Rank your favorite. And he's always doing surveys to like a close group of friends, I guess, it's, which I think is wicked. And, we usually quite often you and I tend to agree on like, yeah, that's the one I like. But sometimes that's not what the people like, right?
Yeah, often I'm wrong, which is why I'm polling everybody all the time. Often I'm wrong. That's a common theme in my life.
Okay. As long as you're right more than 50% of the time, right?
Right.
Okay, let's go. Let me switch this up here. And here's our fancy presentation. Okay. Let's just get right into it. So, number
Sure.
1.
Yeah, so just before we get started, I'll just say these are kind of ways that I am using actively, and they're ways that I actually thought about. It isn't go on Alibaba and find products, but this is like basically 30 ways that I've used to find products to sell on Amazon. It's not the take it out of someone else's packaging and put it in your packaging. It's not going Alibaba. It's not look around your house and find stuff. It's like these are real things from a real seller that I've used. But yeah, anyway, I just want to do that preamble before, but go ahead.
No, and that's good. I mean, it's important. Like this isn't the stereotypical buy some piece of junk off Alibaba, put your own brand name on it, don't change any of the images, use the exact same stuff. This is the right way to do, I call it the right way to do private label, right? You're creating your own products. You're not just, using some sort of software to see what's selling best and just knocking it off and doing the same thing. So this is 30 different ways that you can use to brainstorm and find great ideas for, your own private label products. So number 1, I think this is wicked. I still love flipping a magazine, but subscribe to magazines or other publications in your niche.
For sure. I heard this one somewhere. I don't know. I hear a piece of information, but I tried it. I mean, you can, and I have a couple that I got. Mine is in the sort of home category. So I've got all these like very, very like your mom's magazines. And I haven't looked through them yet. I have a few of them. But they're insanely cheap. Like, I don't know if you've ever signed up for one of these, but they're like $8 a year. And they'll send you 12 or 16 even sometimes. So I'm just waiting until I get a big stack of them. And then all you do really is just look through them, see what's in the pictures, see what people are talking about. And it'll give you tons of ideas, especially, for comparable products or things that just kind of, might be relevant to your niche. And Amazon in 2022 is so much about brand building. So you kind of want to build products. It's less about like building random products now. It's more about building products that are similar. So yeah, that's about all. I guess I got some good ones on here. You got wood, which is important.
This is all I did was I went to Amazon and I just looked at, kind of some recommended, hobbies. I think I went to the hobby category and I got these, wood, model railroad. Oh,
Yeah,
I used to do that. It was awesome.
I'm big into wood.
you're
I
a
know people like
crafter
that.
now. Okay. So yeah, totally. Grab the magazines, grab a bunch, even just go to, obviously get them online is usually the cheapest because these guys just want you to subscribe, right?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Number 2, Helium 10's black box.
Yeah. This one is sort of the tried and true that everybody talks about, but it really does work. You can set any kind of parameters you want. I'm not sharing the screen right now, but you can see there, you can search by products, competitors, niche, and then just enter in your own sort of filters for what you want, and you'll see some crazy stuff. I personally like to do keywords because I like to search by keyword, less by product. Um, but yeah, you can just, if you have a Helium 10 sub, just go in and mess around in black box and you'll find all kinds of stuff. I don't know if you've used this one, Rob.
Dude, I don't do a whole lot of private label, right?
Yeah.
I'm mostly
Yeah.
online arbitrage guy. So the little bit I do, but I have Helium 10. I have a subscription to it. I think it's wicked. It's worth it, and just the amount of tools it has is pretty sick.
Yeah.
Number 3, other private label sellers on Amazon. This was just one I grabbed quickly. Nice Town. They had hundreds of different curtains and rods and all these, like it wasn't just a curtain, but it was all the other accessories you were talking about earlier, building that brand around
Mhm.
everything, not just one-off items. So, which we'll get to on the next one too.
Yeah. With this one, just basically you just click on the buyer name there, sort of under the add to cart, and you can go into their products and just sort of see what comparable stuff they have. You'll get tons of ideas that way for products. You can tell a private label seller because the listing will look good. Um, it'll be a fully fleshed out title and bullets, and probably it'll have EBC and A+ content. Um, Generally avoid larger brands because you're not going to see private label sellers there. But yeah, you can just check out what they're selling, and it's a great way to do research.
Yeah, even this image that hovers over it says a listing health score of 10. That's part of the Helium 10 plugin
Yeah,
that came up. So,
yeah, that's a
yeah,
good way to tell too. If the listing's a 10, it's probably a private label seller.
yeah. And that brings me into number 4, the frequently bought together with yours or similar to yours. And this was again that that drape. When you scroll down the listing, it had this here, and I don't even. And I think this like Kendall, whatever this window curtain rod actually isn't even their own product, but it should be maybe.
Yeah, totally. I mean, some of these seem pretty self-explanatory. It's like you're going to need a curtain rod to go with your curtains, but you'll see stuff in there that you weren't expecting for sure. And we're actually later on in the list, there's a really cool sort of brand analytics tool that shows you the most frequently bought together items, like by percentages and numbers and stuff. But this is just if you're on the Amazon listing and you want to see what they're selling. But I'm sure, well, I don't know, maybe these Nice Town guys do sell curtain rods, but if they don't, they should, like you said.
Number 5, Amazon Suggestion Expander. This is a Chrome plugin.
Yeah, this one is super cool. It'll give you type in a keyword. So we got board games here, and then it'll give you words before and after. And yeah, you'll get tons of ideas. Like you can see, it's got words after, board games for kids 7 and up, or before too, toddler board games, stuff like that. And
Yeah.
like
This is a
literally
lot
any
more than
keyword.
just the regular search. So you're going to Amazon, you start putting it in, and normally Amazon
Yeah,
might, kind of pre-pop, like help you fill out the rest of it. But this just takes it to another level.
the Amazon search is the white one there on the far left, and then everything else is the suggestion expander. Um,
Wow.
Yeah, super cool way to do a little bit of, you see what else people are buying with board games. Like, oh, I didn't know there was a toddler board game. I didn't know that was a thing. Um,
Board
there's
games
lots of cool things.
organizer. I didn't know you needed to
Yeah,
organize your board games. Then you
organizer.
stack them in the closet, right?
There's a niche for you. Just your brand becomes organization, and then you just organize everything. I mean, I've done quite a bit of private label research on organization, and it's like you can have like a saran wrap organizer or a pen organizer. There's organizers for everything.
I know. I used to sell. I've sold it before. A Nerf gun organizer. I always
Right,
joke.
I remember that one.
It's like the mom birthday gift. Oh, I want Nerf. My son loves Nerf. Great. I'll get him this organizer, and he can stack his guns nice and neat. Right? You're like, ugh, worst gift ever.
It's perfect. Yeah. It's not a gun, it's an organizer. That's
Yeah,
awesome.
exactly. Look
Uh
at gift guides.
yeah, this one and the next one are more built by marketers, and marketers are really good at knowing sort of what people want. So when you go on a gift guide, you're going to see sort of 25 or 27 or 100 gifts that people are actively searching for. And this, if you can find one about your niche, I mean, there's 25 new product ideas right there.
Yeah, and all I did was, Max gave me his list and I started going through, and, as part of my research, I just Google searched gift guides, and, you pick a niche. And, this was actually, I took from a website that had all these different gift guides. It seemed to be kind of a gift guide aggregator. And I guess that kind of goes into the next one, which is look at subscription boxes like Cratejoy.
Yeah. Yeah. This is basically just a gift guide, but someone's taken all the gifts in the gift guide and put it into a box, and they'll ship it to you every month or whatever. My wife has one called Causebox, CAUSE, and it's sort of about items that are sort of eco-friendly and environmental and good for the world. It's like a good cause, I guess, is the idea. And she loves it. And I always see really cool stuff in there. But there's hundreds of these. What you want to do is just go to any of them on this website, Cratejoy, and then go to the website that is selling that cost box, and you can actually see all the past ones they've done and all the things they put in there. Again, like anything, like you just look by your niche. So if you're in the whatever kitchen niche, maybe there's a kitchen utensil box, and you go to the website and wow, I really need to make this garlic press. It's revolutionizing garlic presses, something like that.
Don't do
Or
garlic
not.
presses. Don't do garlic presses.
Not advice.
Yeah, sorry. Yes.
Not
Not
financial
financial
advice.
advice. I keep that handy. Yeah, or you know what the evolution is, you find these subscription boxes and get your stuff in them too, right?
Yeah, that's the next level for sure. Not something I've done yet.
I've actually had different brands reach out to one of my brands and ask me for it, and they always just want it like super dirt cheap or free. And it's a trade off. Okay, maybe there's exposure, and if they depends how many they have, and if you have a brand that has complementary products, well, maybe it's a cheap way for brand discovery and new customers, right?
Totally.
Number 8, ask your suppliers. Anything new? Anything that's interesting? What are you selling a lot of? I like this a lot. This is good.
Yeah, super self-explanatory with this one. Just build that relationship with your supplier. What are they selling a lot of? What are they seeing moving? Yeah, that's about it, really. I mean, you can talk to any of them, and I've used this on every single one of my suppliers, and I always get new ideas about stuff to do. Oh, I'm selling a lot of this, and you've never heard of it, and then boom, new product.
Yeah, and this actually number 7. It says play vehicle accessories. This was from a Shopify trends article, and that's where I grabbed this from. And I was like, oh yeah, it's classic. Like, oh, we're selling a lot of this item, this vehicle, or these, like toys. Okay, well, what are complementary? Maybe some play mats that are associated with it, or other building
Yeah.
blocks. I don't know, but
Hmm.
yeah, you never. Hey, these guys are the ones that have their ear to the pulse. Like ear to the ground, know what's selling, what's hot.
Hmm.
Ask them.
Totally.
But
I see it every
you
day.
also, well, most of the time you gotta get on the phone, right? You can ask them in an email, and I do get some things, but I love still if you can get a sales rep they should be calling you. They should be trying to sell you stuff. You get them on the phone and ask them. You can
Phone's
get them
just
chatting.
better. You get answers much quicker.
Google your niche plus the word wholesale.
Yeah, so this would be more for finding local suppliers of your product. I live in Canada, but I mainly sell in the States, and so I can often find like local distributors and products that aren't in China using this method. What you want to do here, and if you look at the search bar there, I've minused out Walmart. If you add a little minus and then the keyword, so like minus Alibaba, for example, you won't get search results for that. But you can find tons of uh, small, not even mom and pop, but like regional distributors of your niche. And then you go to their website. They got a bunch of products. Bingo, bango, Bob's your uncle.
Next thing you know, you're making regional sauce from Maine, right?
There you go.
Sell what you know. Everyone knows a lot about something in theory, right? And when I put this together, these were just two. First one was I golf. Our family golfs, and this is a website we go to called Golf Gods, and they just make funny golf accessories. And then the second
There you
one
go.
was a company. It's pretty neat. They make displays for either Lego or Funko Pops or things like this. And this was a neat product. I thought they make these custom displays that will fit in IKEA shelves, because a lot of collectors for Lego and action figures all buy the same IKEA type shelf to display their stuff. So they just said, okay, let's make that was interesting. Just make products that will fit the IKEA shelves that everybody in our industry tends to use, right?
Yeah, perfect. Yeah. With private label research, you need to learn a lot about the product first, and that takes time and effort. But if you already know about the thing, you're good. And then you can see also what's wrong with the listings that are out there already, because you're like, well, that ain't gonna work. One product I was looking at, weirdly enough, was bat boxes. So it's like a bat house, and you put them up on your garage or on a big pole, and they the ones on Amazon weren't doing a good job. And the way I found that out was that I actually talked to a bat conservation expert in my area, and he was like, and I was like, well, what about these? Because he was like, well, the bat box should be this big, and it should be this color because of the heat from the sun. And I was like, well, why don't any of the ones up here have that? And he's like, well, they're all doing it wrong. I mean, those aren't safe for bats. And I was like, oh my god. So that was super insightful for me. And I didn't know anything about bat boxes, but I went and learned. But yeah, if you know a lot about something, and maybe you know a lot about bat boxes, then you can go on Amazon and just destroy everybody.
So are you going to sell bat boxes?
It's a little big for Amazon. That's the problem. It's like the ones on Amazon are like this big, and they can hold like 80 bats or something like that. But the one that the conservation guy wanted me to build was like massive, and it was
Yep.
like very hard for Amazon. I mean, oversized is good if you can get in and you're not going to much competition, but it, it was a lot. Yeah.
Dude, like, funny story about bat boxes. Like 15 years ago, my dad used to make bat boxes out of wood, and they were huge, and he'd sell them. But yeah, same thing, like massive. And then you got this big pole you got to put it up on or mount it. But it
Right.
was, yeah, and it held like hundreds of bats, but they were pretty huge. And yeah, I
Yeah.
just sold them locally. Worked well. Now,
That's
maybe you
awesome.
should sell them on Amazon.
Yeah.
Niche related Facebook groups.
So what I like to do with this one is I'll make a second Facebook account. That's not my main Facebook account, because generally, I mean, it's good to care about the niche you're in, but I also like want to like see stuff on Facebook that I want to see. And if it's all about ATVs, I'm probably not going to want to go on Facebook anymore. So I'll make a second account, let the post come in, don't log into it for a week, almost like what you're doing with the magazines, and just sort of check it out periodically and see what people are talking about, see what their likes and dislikes are, see what's going on in the backgrounds of their photos, see what is interesting them, and you'll get tons of ideas for your niche that way.
I just use this because I have an ATV. I have a side by side, and I'm in a bunch of the groups, and I'm always looking for what cool accessories. Like these guys all do insane mods, and I'm like, well, that's great. I can't do that, but if you have a cool base accessory that somebody has that I could order, that's what I look for. But yeah, but you're not supposed to have multiple Facebook accounts. But
Oh, not financial advice.
yes, well, not Facebook advice, but all
What
I
if
have
I
right
use
now is
a
not.
what if I use a fake name? Am I allowed then?
I don't think
Maybe.
so.
All right, don't do that. Or sign up your dog, and then you're good.
Niche
Yeah,
related Reddit groups. I like this too. These are good.
lots of these out there, and you can filter by the most popular posts or most controversial posts. Again, it's just about seeing what is going on, and seeing what people are talking about and what they're taking pictures of. You can also do
Oh yeah,
searches on Reddit.
even going in some of these groups and joining them and asking the questions,
Hmm.
like seed things like, oh, I'm looking at getting this, what is the best one, what do people advise? Like if you're in the gardening, like I want to get a new, I don't know, new hoe, like whatever, and you can ask those questions and later on use it to kind of subtly even advertise your product. I've seen that. Everybody's obviously a little
Right.
skeptical. You just can't come in and like, hey man, buy my stuff. But if you're
Yeah.
contributing in some of these communities and then you're like, hey, here's a whatever that I bought the other day, was pretty cool. That wouldn't be my first post. It wouldn't be a throwaway account, but I
Right.
start working the niche before you actually have it
Sure.
available, right?
Or commenting on other people's posts, or you can just like post your own product and be like, I'm thinking about buying this. What do you guys think? And you get some, free responses that way.
More Reddit. Search in the Google for the niche, Reddit and Amazon.
The Google search bar is just better than the Reddit one. And I often find better resources if I searching on Reddit, if I search it through Google first. So that's just what this one's about. It's just sort of drilling down more specifically. Yeah.
Browse the tree guide. So this is in Amazon Central. So you gotta this took a little this was a little difficult for me to get to.
Yeah. I'm just looking on my other monitor here, but I basically just go into search when you're in your Amazon Seller Central account. You have to have an Amazon Seller Central account. You just type in browse tree guides. And so basically this is just Amazon's category listing for every product or every niche or every sort of category that they sell. And you can see here, it's doing the automotive section, but there's one for everything, every single category on Amazon. So you'll see thousands and thousands and thousands and more products than you could ever launch in here. And a lot of these are pretty filled up, but I mean, it's going to give you a ton of ideas. If you're in the automotive niche, did you know you need a bug, sap, and tar remover? I bet you didn't. So now you do. But yeah,
But even still, if you decide that, you know what, my niche is going to be exterior car care, then, you know, here is a bunch of complementary products that all focus around that one niche versus going, you know, okay, I need sponges, I need hose attachments, buckets,
right.
you know, you right back to your original comment of creating that holistic brand, not just one or two off products, right?
And often I'll just say quickly about the automotive and the industrial industry is generally the listings aren't very good. So you could probably build a whole brand around this one in particular.
I know a guy who does a whole bunch of tools and does quite well and has made
Yeah.
a massive brand for like 4 years just around automotive related tools. Browse Etsy for the niche, and this also Marmalade. I never heard of this website until you told me.
Yeah, not something I use a ton, but if you're doing product research, Etsy is a good place to go because there's a lot of handmade and sort of different, unique products. So one product I was looking at one time was a whiteboard, and I went on Etsy, and there were some crazy whiteboards that people had made, like nothing that you'd ever see on Amazon. Like ones where the guy had like he had taken the wood backing for the whiteboard. I'm trying to get my hand straight here, and he had like made it in a curve like that, so it would hold the markers at the bottom. And I thought that was like unbelievable. And I thought about launching it. It didn't really work out. And I don't mean steal people's ideas, but like you can just see cool different ideas and you can change it to to be unique in your way. But it's a great yeah. Don't steal people's ideas. But you can see a lot of cool ideas. Anyway, Marmalade is just like it just drills down into those categories and you can see keywords and stuff like that. I think it's paid though. But yeah, if you want to go into Etsy and look a little deeper, this is the way to do it.
The only thing that it throws me off on Etsy, like one of my private label businesses, I guess we started originally on Etsy. That's kind of got a launch. Now we sell almost nothing on it. It's kind of weird. Sometimes like I find, you know, it's handmade and hobbies, and sometimes people make stuff and they clearly don't value their time at the same level that a lot of people do. And you're like,
Right.
that thing took 10 hours of your time to make, and you're selling it for $25. Right?
Yeah.
Like, you know, and then I'm sure when you try to go and get it actually manufactured or something very similar, you're like, yeah, this is nowhere near. And you obviously can't buy it from that person because they would never, after, you know, you order 10 of them, I'm sure would stop making it, right?
Yeah. Like, this is taking too long.
Yeah, because it's like, you know, that's one thing that I found. There's hobbyists and they don't value the time. So then, you know, trying to compete as a regular business on some categories, you just can't do it.
Mhm.
Another Helium 10, Cerebro. I don't even know if I pronounced
Yeah,
that right.
you did. Yeah, there's a few Helium 10 tools in here just because it's like the gold standard for product research right now. But Cerebro is it's called a reverse ASIN lookup. So basically, you just put in a bunch of Amazon product ASINs. ASIN is just the Amazon product identifier number, and then it'll give you all the keywords that those ASINs are ranking on. This one's been talked to death, and I'm sure most people know this one. But how I like to use it, I'll just enter 10 random ASINs that aren't even always related. It doesn't really matter to me when I'm in the product research. Like honestly, I could pick some stuff from automotive and I could pick some stuff from kitchen. It won't really matter. It's just about getting those keywords and seeing what's in there. And once you have the keywords, you're like, oh, that's interesting. Some things will jump out at you, things you haven't heard of, or things that have high search volume or something like that. And then you can take those keywords and do further deep dives on them. But honestly, you can put in 10 random ASINs into Cerebro. That's not really how people say to use it, but it works for me. When I'm just in the top of the funnel, sort of doing the
Yeah.
initial figuring out what's going on, uh, what I want to do in my niche. Obviously, if you're in, you're in the automotive niche or whatever, you'd probably want 10 ASINs that are similar, and then you could see comparative stuff.
This is the worst clip art I found.
He's very
This one was
excited.
way too excited. And she's got like a vacation hat. So that's why I put it into. I'm like, oh, she's like doing it from the beach. So
Yeah.
this is actually so hiring a sourcing agent. So tell us a bit about that.
So sourcing agent is just someone that you hire to do sourcing. Wow, was that good?
Okay,
Uh,
next slide.
Next slide. Yeah, she'll, she or he, I guess, will find products for you in the country or area that you're looking for, like India, China, wherever. And these are the guys sort of similar to asking your suppliers what's going on, but they know, all the products that are interesting and exciting, and they usually work for an agency where they see lots and lots of products, coming through on a regular basis. You might need like a little bit of a start with these guys. You're not going to say like, give me any product, but um, I'm looking for a product in the, garlic press or kitchen utensil niche. Uh, do you have anything like that, or is there anything else that you've seen, or maybe there's a new design that's exciting, stuff like
And
that?
usually they take a margin, correct?
Yeah, so they'll take a small percentage. Usually they don't even tell you what it is. With my sourcing agent, for example, I'll just say, can you get me a price on this product? And then she'll just give it to me. And if the price is good or it works within, my ROI or margin goals, then I don't really care how much she's taking because, you know, I'm doing what I want to do. So, but yeah, usually it's about 5% or
Yeah.
maybe even less.
You're not using a sourcing agent all the time. This is just sometimes if you got an idea you want to go down, you get her to check it out.
Yeah, generally in other countries, I'll use a sourcing agent, something where the language is a bit of a problem, like China or India, for example, where I don't speak. I mean, some of the suppliers obviously do have English speakers over there, but it's always nice to have a native speaker because they can negotiate better deals, and the clarity on your product instructions is higher because she's the intermediary and she understands, whereas things might get lost in translation. Then sourcing agents, of course, can help you with freight forwarding and shipping and things like that. But if I'm sourcing in the States, I'll just do it myself. I'll be my own sourcing agent. And then again, you're talking to suppliers and asking them, what's new and exciting.
Sure. Amazon's B2B product opportunities. Again, this is in Seller Central.
Yeah. So this one you go to one of the sections. Anyway,
Was just
it's
like
in there. You can search it.
growth. Isn't it like growth or something down the
Yeah,
side?
it's yeah, it's something like that. Oh, it's under the B2B tab, of course. B2B and then product opportunities. The B2B is business to business. I've been having a bit of a look at this one more lately, and it's interesting because they'll only show you products from brands that you've sold already, which is kind of interesting. So like earlier this year, I was selling some like DeWalt lights. So it's giving me like a massive list of DeWalt products. Um, so if you're selling products that are in your brand's niche, so like again, I'll use an example. I mean, we can use we'll use kitchen again. If you're selling like an OXO product, like OXO good grips or a can opener or something like that, then what it's going to do is it's going to suggest a bunch of other OXO products. And you'll get them. I just downloaded the report and it's just like a massive 10,000 line Excel sheet of just thousands of products that are related to that brand, and that can help you as well.
So online arbitrage or retail arbitrage can be the gateway to private label because if you're out
There
there
you go.
selling all
Oh,
those
they're all
things,
so
then
connected. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I
yeah.
mean that's how I got some of my best product ideas. Was like, wow, this thing is selling like crazy. Let's make my own.
Stuff that you had sold arbitrage and you're like, oh
Yeah,
wow, I can't find it
for sure.
anymore.
Hmm.
19. Amazon's Product Opportunity Explorer. Again, this is also in Seller Central.
Yeah, this one is actually new this year or late last year. This one is super cool. You can enter in any keyword, or you can, on the left there, you can filter by categories, and you can search basically anything, and Amazon will give you a bunch of detail about it. So I'm just going to click on one quick, and I'll tell you what's there. but I just clicked on jacuzzi mat for bathtub, and what it's going to do is it'll give you all of the best sellers for that keyword. And then if you click on the search terms tab, I know you can't see it, but it'll actually show you um, what percentage of the products are using sponsored ads. So once you sort of dive deep into it, you can see like, okay, with jacuzzi mat for bathtub, only 20% of the people are using sponsored ads. And that might be a good niche to get into, because if you do just a little bit of advertising, you can beat everybody else. So it ain't always about, like, I mean, there's a lot of ways to skin the cat, right? Like you can find a cool product that's in your niche that's great, but you can also go after niches that other sellers are doing badly in a number of areas, and one of them might be sponsored ads. But yeah, you can. I spend hours in this thing, and you can really look at the search volume. It'll give you the growth year over year. Maybe you want to see product that has over 1,000% growth in the last year, and get into that. But yeah, this is sort of I don't know, their attempt to sort of deal with Helium 10, maybe, I don't know, but it's just a great way to research keywords.
Amazon's brand analytics.
Again, sort of similar thing in here. You can see any keyword and then the top 3 sellers and their conversion rate on it. So you can go to any of those sellers and see why they're converting so well or why they're not. There's a really cool thing called market basket analysis in this tool, and basically it shows you any product you're selling, and this is back to the who bought your product with another product. It shows you what kind of other products they had in their basket at the time that they bought your product. So I'm just looking at mine right now, and there's a bunch of products that I didn't even know existed that people have been buying with mine. So I probably need to get on that.
That in theory are similar or complementary, that, if they go and pick up X, they're going to buy Y and Z, and yeah, knock those out. That's awesome.
Totally. There's also like similar items and demographics. Demographics isn't so much for product research, but you can see what age groups, what sexes, what education levels are buying your products, and then you can go find where those people hang out and see what else they're buying.
Customer reviews. So this is looking at listings, reading the good and the bad, what people really like about it and what they didn't. And I grabbed these reviews from a Keurig K-Cup coffee holder that was, looked like a private label one to me. And, people talking about, in this one, they were talking about, oh, this was really good. It was space saver. It was flat. I could put the coffee maker on top. And then other people said, hey, it wasn't strong enough when the Keurig was full of water. Right. So,
For sure.
okay, good. Here's the key. Here's what people liked about it. Here's what they didn't. If you're going to go make something that solves both, right?
For sure. Yeah. A lot of niches, you'll see similar problems between multiple products. So it's just about making one that doesn't have those problems.
I thought this was funny. Your continuing education courses and your supply list. I thought this was pretty smart.
Yeah, this one's definitely a top of the funnel type E one, because they're not going to have too many continuing education courses about really obscure stuff, which is where the niches are. But like, I think the example that I used was like a guitar class. So you find random weird classes on these websites, and then just look up supplies for those classes with a Google or an Amazon search. There's some crazy stuff, I guess. Maybe I'm being too harsh, but I'm sure there's underwater basket weaving and other weird stuff like that.
It's funny. Back in, I guess it was about 20 years ago, I used to sell craft products, like wooden craft products for toll painting, where people paint them in all like Easter colors, pastel, and, it's, oh, home is where the heart is and things like that. And I was just selling them online on my own website. And then I figured that the real niche in the subset was to go to the actual teachers of the courses, right? Because then they're like, oh, I'm going to teach people how to do this painting and we need the supplies. And then I would sell 20 or 30 of the exact same item to one customer, right?
Perfect.
And, which was, again, okay, let me help you make your supply list, kind of, let's target them. And I started to sell directly to those teachers, and that was way more profitable than the individual customers, because lifetime value was so much higher too, because they keep coming back. They run a course this weekend, and then in another couple of weeks, they'd be running another course with another 10 students and maybe returning students. So, they were always going to continue to buy and always buy 10, 20, 30 of the same item.
Oh, super cool. I never thought about that.
Trade shows, Orbus.com for lists of shows. This was pretty neat. I had no idea this existed.
Yeah, so this is just one of many sort of trade show aggregators. There's a trade show for every conceivable topic and for every niche imaginable. Snake charmers, pistachio growers, backwards hat wearers, they're out there. And your niche is out there, whatever it is. So all you got to do is click on the trade show thing, and then there's often a virtual sort of tour, and you can see the exhibitors. You'll get 100 or 200 brands in the States that are really big into snake charming, and you can just go in there and see what kind of comparable products they're selling. This is a great way to do that. I mean, you can also go to trade shows. COVID and all that is kind of hampering that, but a lot of these do have the virtual tour, and yeah, you can just find endless products, and you're sort of in the company of people who know your niche, right?
Yeah, I remember the last one I went to was I got this super duper thick book, and it was just a directory of everybody in it. And you're just
Yeah,
like, oh, great. This is all I needed. I didn't even need to walk just sit down and flip those and reach out and contact them. Easy.
yeah. This was really cool.
Craft shows and farmers markets.
Similar idea here. Going to a craft show or a farmer's market, I would avoid the things that you see a lot there, like a candle or a jar of salsa or anything grocery or food. But you'll find unique and weird things there all the time, especially if your niche is somewhat related to that. I would say don't go to craft shows if your niche is automotive, but kitchen, home, there's some big categories there that um, that would fit well with craft shows and festivals and fairs like that, where people are selling sort of trinkets and jewelry and cosmetics and stuff like that. There's lots of cool things there. One thing I learned about not too long ago was saran wrap made by bees. Uh, it's like bee wrap or something, and it's like you use it over and over and over again. I didn't even know that existed, but that was something that I found at a craft thing.
So now you're going to start getting some bees and get some beehives in the back and manufacture
Yeah,
this?
usually by the time I find out about it, it's like everybody's like, "Oh yeah, that's been out for 10 years." But yeah.
Yes, like bamboo utensils, right? Don't get
Hmm.
bamboo stuff.
Yeah, don't get bamboo stuff.
25, answerthepublic.com.
This is a cool website. It's free, quote unquote, for a few searches. But you
Yep.
just enter in a keyword like you would anywhere else, and it'll give you questions. So like what, who, why. It'll give you prepositions. It'll give you all kinds of similar keywords that go with that, and you might find sort of almost similar to the AMZ suggestion expander. You're going to find what else people are typing with that phrase. So we've got cotton balls here. And then, you could see all kinds of stuff that might be comparable to your specific product. Cotton balls for dryer. Didn't know that was a thing. Cotton balls for weight loss. What does that mean? Let's look it up. You eat them?
I
That
don't know.
actually, cotton balls, like touching cotton balls to me is one of the worst feelings imaginable. I don't know why. It's almost like stepping on snow. But yeah, ugh, I don't want to think about cotton balls in my mouth. Thank you very much.
I don't understand cotton balls for weight loss. Like, what else would you
Yeah.
do with them? Like, hold them? No, it's probably eating them. I don't know. Weird.
Even,
But anyways,
yeah,
yeah, it's really cool because, and it's sorry, this is at an angle because they give you a big circle of all these different
that's right.
questions and stuff, and it's pretty neat. It's almost like like SEO keyword kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
26. This is niche down far on Amazon. So I took this screen grab by just starting with like the departments and kind of going through each time and just seeing how far I could go. And this one I just started with the home and bath and got all the way down to a bunch of different bathroom mirrors.
Yeah. This one you're using the browse tree guide that we talked about earlier, but you're just doing it on the actual Amazon website. And so in the browse tree guide, you're just going to see the categories. But on here, you'll see the products that make up those categories. So you can find some cool stuff there. And obviously, there's more products than there is categories. So there are going to be things that don't show up on the browse tree guides that do show up. Like I sell products, for example, that aren't on the browse tree guides because they're just, that's the way, nature of the world, right? There's just always going to be more products than there is categories for those products. So you can find some cool stuff here. And also one quick tip with that, if you click out of stock, you might see some weird stuff.
Oh yeah. Interesting. Out of stock. Pinterest 100, top 100 Pinterest trends. This was a multitude of information. And I just started like trying to take screen grabs of, we could talk about, but, it was talking about all the different growth and what the trends were and all the different categories. I mean, I ended up grabbing a bunch of indoor water fountains because I thought that was kind of neat, but this was cool.
Totally. And I'm just thinking about COVID again here, and you can see that a lot of this stuff is just about, improving your home almost, because everybody's at home, or has been at home, which is why these are going up.
So I don't know if you can see, because this is probably small on your screen, but there's one over here, the third one down. It's called Granny Pods.
What
So
is
it's
that?
literally, it's like a shed or a pod. I don't know. I guess you put your grandma in, right? Like you said, you get tired of COVID. You're like, I don't want to spend any more time with grandma, so I need to get a pod for him. Put her out in the back.
Wow. There's like, that's an amazing thing about private label research. You just are constantly seeing new stuff that you didn't know existed. Granny pods.
And maybe you didn't know you needed. Hey, Granny,
Wow.
instead of staying with us, we can get your own shed. I mean, pod.
I'm gonna look that one up after this. That was weird.
Creating an ad campaign on Amazon and see the suggested terms.
Yeah, pretty simple with this one. You got to go into the advertising thing. The item that you're looking at must be in your inventory, and then just create sort of a fake campaign for it. And Amazon's gonna suggest a bunch of terms for you to rank for that product. Take those terms and see what comes up.
Do you have to actually have it active or just a listing in your?
No, yeah, it can be inactive. It just has to
Oh,
be. I don't even know if it has to be in your inventory. Actually, you might want to try it without. I think you do, but yeah, basically you stick any ASIN in there, try to run a campaign, and then click on the suggested terms.
or yeah, just add a competitor type product to your inventory.
Anything,
Like
yep.
the OXO or whatever you call those kitchen utensils. Add one of those that you could buy and then see what you get out of it.
Yeah.
Thomasnet.com.
So a lot of people still don't know about this one, but this is basically the Alibaba of the United States. I mean, there is some suppliers in Mexico and Canada, but it's mostly American suppliers. And you can find, again, like basically anything on here. Type in your niche. And it's a little bit less targeted than Alibaba and a little bit less user friendly. On Alibaba, you search up and it's like you type in cheese wheel, and then cheese wheels are going to come up. But on this, you type cheese wheel, and it's going to just give you a list of suppliers that maybe put that keyword phrase in their profile. So what I like to do is I'll type in the niche I'm searching for, select the top 20 or whatever, open their own websites, and then I'll proceed from there, whether it's sending an email or just looking at their products, something like that. But yeah, Thomasnet. This website's great.
Yeah, it's really slick. I've used it a couple times, and you're like, oh wow! And exactly as you said, you find one supplier and then see what else they could supply and go from there. And maybe
Totally.
that's also how you. Hey, if this supplier works, and they could also supply me the complementary products versus having 2 or 3 different manufacturers, to build out your brand, right?
Mm-hmm.
And number 30.
Number 30. Back
Helium
to Helium
10's market
10.
tracker.
Yeah. This one is super cool. You track a market. So a market is just another word for niche. And you'll put in your product and a couple of keywords. If you have a couple of products, you'll put them in there. And then every week or every couple of days, I check mine every week. It's just going to suggest other products in that niche, what it thinks are comparable products. And oftentimes it's wrong. And you're like, no, that's not my product or not similar to my product. But those are the ideas. Those are the cool things that are somewhat similar to yours. Those are the next products that you launch. So keep an eye on those.
Sweet. Dude, that was 30. That took us a few minutes, but hopefully some people stuck through it. And
Yeah.
dude, you dropped a lot of good information along the way.
Yeah,
You got
hopefully that
any
was
more
helpful.
like closing advice here for people that are just starting, doing some research, trying to, maybe they're still just trying to find their niche, depending on where you live.
Yeah.
Just any last minute advice for them?
Yeah, start small. You private label, you don't need a ton of money. Like I wouldn't say you need $10,000. I think you can do some, pretty reasonable private label products for a couple $1,000s. Know your numbers. I mean, we don't want to get into all that right now, but like you can launch all kinds of, you just get creative and you can launch all kinds of stuff. You don't have to go to China. You don't have to go to Mexico or India. You can launch your entire brand in the States. Most of my products are made in the States, and or even in Canada if you live in Canada. It's a lot easier, and you'll have to deal with a lot less logistics. Yeah, really try to think outside the box about making a product that's not a Me Too product. Try to push levers for how you can beat your competition. So at one point in the call, I talked about sponsored ads. So maybe your product isn't really all that much better, or you can't think of anything too creative, but you can beat them on ads. One of my niches, I made a sort of a similar product, but I actually made packaging, and nobody else in my niche had any packaging, and my listing stood out like crazy. So yeah, just get creative and mess around. And yeah, one guy used to say, just go down rabbit trails until you find something really cool.
Yeah, exactly. Max, thanks again so much for this, man. It was really good. I do have one final question. What would you say, like, minimum order if you're doing your first private label product? Because when I talk to people, I'm always like, like, I'm just so nervous. People are dropping like 10 grand, 5 grand into, launching a brand new product they've never sold on Amazon.
Right.
Like, realistically, what do you think is like the minimum order quantity someone could have a go with?
Yeah, obviously it depends on the niche and how fast it's going to sell. You want to not run out. That's priority number one. So if something is selling really fast, you're going to want to have more. If something is selling not as fast, you're going to want to have less. But 500 units, I think, as long as your lead time is not crazy, I think you could do. I usually do around 500 to 1,000 units for my first one, unless it's really cheap and I know it's going to sell, then I could 2,000. I wouldn't do any more than that. Probably wouldn't do any less than 500 either. So in that 500 to 1,500, 2,000 range is what I would recommend for products, especially if you're just starting out. You don't want to go too insane.
Oh, and a good point there is have the conversation with the manufacturer. Okay, when can I get my second order? What's the lead time? So, you can say, okay, look, it starts taking off and selling really well. Then let's put that second order in, because I know you've already told me it's going to be 2 weeks, 3 weeks, or a month, or 2 months, right?
Yeah, well, I mean, like, let's say you buy 500 units and your product's selling 10 a day. You got like a month and a half, or a little bit more than a month and a half, before your product is sold out. And how long is your supplier's lead time? Is it a month and a half? You're in trouble. So
Have
yeah,
that
you
have
can
that
use,
conversation early on, right? When you're making the first purchase.
for sure. Yeah.
Awesome, man. Thanks so much for your time, Max. This is a great list. And if anybody wants to see the full list, we put it on the website, and it's in our Facebook group, sellingforthebeach.com. Subscribe to the channel. Hopefully we're going to have more videos, because I'm definitely having Max on again, because I think this is fun. And we go through a lot of good stuff here, man. So
Yeah, it was a blast.
thanks again for your time, buddy.
Sure.